It has been a busy period on board the International Space Station with the arrivals of the Progress 93 cargo ship this past weekend, today's arrival of the Northrop Grumman Cygnus XL, the new version of the Cygnus cargo craft dubbed the SS Willie McCool, named in honor of the late astronaut who tragically lost his life in the Columbia accident on February 1st, 2003. Coming up in just a few weeks from the Tanegashima Launch Complex in southern Japan will be the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's launch of its H-3 rocket to carry the new HTV-X1 cargo craft into orbit. It will spend 3 days phasing toward the International Space Station. That launch is scheduled for the night of October 20th, 8:58 p.m. Central Time, which will be 10:58 a.m. Japan time on October 21. HTV-X1 is scheduled to arrive at the station for its robotic capture and installation on October 24th. HTV-X1 will be attached to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module. Between Progress's arrival the other day and Cygnus's arrival today, a total of more than 8.3 tons of cargo will have been delivered to the station, and adding to that the more recent arrival of the SpaceX 33 Dragon craft, complete with a reboost kit in its trunk to provide reboost capability for the station, saving propellant for the Russian vehicles that are also bear some of the load for reboost and debris avoidance maneuver capability for the international outpost. We will be reacquiring our downlink video capability from the station momentarily on the tracking and data relay satellite system. The station with Cygnus firmly in tow.
Station on 2 with a question on my upcoming Earth-Shine activity.
Go ahead on 2.
I just want to make sure that you all are okay with me opening up the cupola shutters in order to complete this activity.
Checking. All right, Johnny, your go to open those shutters for your activity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Johnny Kim aboard the station, acknowledging Aaron Edwards, the spacecraft communicator here in Mission Control, just checking to make sure that the shutters on the cupola can be reopened now that activities have shifted from robotics that he and Zena Cardman were involved in earlier today to the installation, which is under the control of the robotics officer here in Mission Control, the Robo, as is his call sign. The station and Cygnus are currently flying 260 miles over southeastern China, about to begin a northwest to southeasterly track to carry it across the Pacific Ocean. We are about 32 minutes until we move into an orbital sunrise. And again, the slow, methodical maneuvering of Cygnus to its alignment position, where its berthing mechanism will be precisely aligned with the common berthing mechanism that will capture it basically on the Earth-facing side of the Unity module of the International Space Station, to enable 16 bolts to be driven mechanically to firmly latch Cygnus to the station for the remainder of its stay on orbit. This is Mission Control Houston. It has been about 2 hours and 12 minutes since the Cygnus XL, the Northrop Grumman cargo ship, was captured by the space station's robotic arm under the control of Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman, who worked those procedures from the cupola workstation on the International Space Station. At this hour, Cygnus is hovering over the common berthing mechanism on the Earth-facing side of the Unity module, being aligned for its ultimate installation into what is called a capture envelope to enable a series of latches first to pull Cygnus in for the beginning of the bolting of Cygnus into place by 16 bolts, 4 gangs of 4 bolts apiece. This view is from a camera in what is called the centerline camera berthing system. This is a visual alignment tool that is used to ensure the precise alignment of the Cygnus's berthing mechanism with the common berthing mechanism on the Earth-facing side of the Unity module. The robotics officer here in Mission Control reports that he has one more maneuver that will take about 4 minutes to complete, that will place Cygnus within 2 feet of the Unity to begin a more precise alignment before it enters its capture envelope. This is Mission Control Houston. Just to recap, you're looking at the Northrop Grumman Cygnus XL cargo craft, which executed a flawless rendezvous this morning to arrive at the International Space Station, where it was grappled 2 hours and 16 minutes ago at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time, to complete a 4-day journey following its launch Sunday evening from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida atop a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Loaded with more than 5 tons of cargo for the Expedition 73 crew, Cygnus is in the home stretch before its berthing and bolting into place on the Earth-facing side of the Unity module of the International Space Station. Cygnus, which is at the end of the station's robotic arm and the International Space Station, flying 260 miles over the western Pacific Ocean, moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. All of Cygnus's systems operated flawlessly throughout the course of its rendezvous in the overnight hours. It wound up right where it was supposed to be, following a revised burn plan that was devised by Northrop Grumman in the wake of two abbreviated shutdowns of main engine firings in the early stages of the rendezvous sequence, attributed to overly conservative software limits that had been established pre-flight. Those software limits were adjusted, a new burn plan was executed, and done so in flawless fashion to bring Cygnus to its eventual home at the end of the robotic arm, and where it will be bolted into place on the Unity module a short time from now. Once we get to the actual installation of Cygnus, you'll be hearing call-outs for first stage capture and second stage capture. These are two phases of the installation process for a vehicle that is being mechanically bolted into place on these common berthing mechanisms. The bolting itself is conducted in several stages. The first stage acquires all 16 bolts and their mating nuts and torques them into an acquired bolt preload of some 1,500 pounds that is measured by strain gauges within the bolts and monitored by the operations and support officer, the mechanical systems officer here in Mission Control. After this initial torque is complete, further torquing is discontinued so the temperatures between the passive ring and the active ring, essentially both sides of the berthing interface between Cygnus and Unity, can be equalized. The bolts are ultimately commanded in groups of 4. There are 4 gangs of 4 bolts apiece, 16 in all, to a final load of over 19,000 pounds per bolt, ensuring a rigid and permanent structural mating of the cargo craft to the International Space Station. Again, a view from external cameras on the International Space Station showing the Cygnus cargo craft slowly but surely being aligned with that circular mechanism. That's the common berthing mechanism on the Earth-facing side of Unity. We're just a few minutes away from what is called the pre-install position, where Cygnus would be 2 feet away from the common berthing mechanism on Unity. Once it moves into that capture envelope, we'll be hearing calls for RTLs, that's ready to latch indications from the mechanism itself, the common berthing mechanism. On the station side, it's called the active common berthing mechanism. The passive side is on the Cygnus side. The chatter here in the flight control room centers around Cygnus being moments away from being in the pre-install position.
Go ahead, Mike. We're with you on 2.
Yes, good morning. We are finished with the velocicalc measurements, and the next step would be to remove the Node 1 diffuser covers.
All right, Mike, we have a couple safing actions we need to take from here, so I'll get you to stand by for 2 minutes. I'll get back to you.
Oh, no hurries. I'm still putting away the velocicalc meters, so take your time. Just let me know when you're ready.
We will do, and while I have you, Mike, I copy your your crew note there about the temp stow, the battery. We're happy with that. We'll keep watching that for the next day.
Okay, I'll hold on to the battery, and then you'll let us know via daily summary or something that we should discard it or keep it. Thank you.
The Cygnus cargo craft, loaded with more than 5 tons of supplies for the Expedition 73 crew, is almost at its parking place on the Unity module of the International Space Station. Everything has gone very smoothly all through the morning. A textbook rendezvous that resulted in its grapple by the Canadarm2 robotic arm at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time. The robotics officer here in Mission Control has maneuvered Cygnus to what momentarily will be called the pre-install position for a final alignment before it is guided into the RTL, or ready to latch configuration, where latches in the common berthing mechanism on Unity, that circular device that you see almost right at the interface with Cygnus, will begin to draw Cygnus in flush, so that both sides of the berthing interface are flush against one another, enabling the start of the bolting of 16 bolts, 4 gangs of 4 bolts apiece, to mechanically attach Cygnus to Unity.
At this time. Thanks.
The International Space Station and Cygnus flying 260 miles over the Pacific Ocean, passing over Samoa, the Cook Islands, and Tonga, moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator, as we are in the home stretch of Cygnus's arrival at the complex. With the space station now in what is called momentum management, essentially ensuring that there are no untoward maneuvers that are planned for the space station during the final stages of this delicate installation operation. The robotics officer is estimating that we're about 15 minutes away from being at the RTL or ready to latch position, which will set the stage for first and second stage capture of Cygnus, which amounts to the initial two phases of the bolting and bolt loading process that will physically attach the spacecraft to the international outpost. As mentioned earlier, we will be reversing this process and detaching Cygnus from Unity in the November 25th timeframe, a couple of days before the Soyuz MS-28 spacecraft launches from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. That's scheduled for Thanksgiving Day, with NASA's Chris Williams and Russian cosmonauts Sergei Kudzverchkov and Sergei Mikhayev on board to begin their 8-month mission on the complex. That is scheduled to be a two-orbit rendezvous. That vehicle is going to be docked to the Rassvet module on the same Earth-facing side of the station as is Cygnus. The goal in mind here is to prevent any inadvertent loading onto Cygnus by the arrival of the Soyuz spacecraft. So it will be detached by the robotic arm and moved into what is called an overnight park position to allow Soyuz to dock. Following the docking of Soyuz, then Cygnus will be reattached to the Unity module, just as you're seeing in this view from external cameras on the station. So this is the first of several acts of attachment, detachment, and reattachment for the Cygnus spacecraft during the course of its 6 months at the International Space Station.
Station on 2 for Moonshine.
Go ahead, Johnny. We're with you on 2.
Okay, I'll get a couple more eyeballs to back me up, but I'm looking outside windows 1, 2, and 6, and I cannot find the moon. I should be able to see it now, and I'm wondering if it's behind the arrays.
All right, we're checking, Johnny.
Cygnus now being maneuvered into what shortly will be the ready to latch position. It's been just over 2.5 hours since its capture. Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman were operating the station's robotic arm.
The array was blocking, and now we have a good visual of the moon.
You found the moon. Fantastic.
Cygnus was grappled at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time, as Cygnus and the station flew 260 miles over Central Africa. And the robotics officer reports that the Canadarm2 that is in the grasp of Cygnus is pushing in for ready to latch indications. And we now have 4 ready to latch indications. This is the precursor to the start of the bolting of Cygnus into place. There are 16 bolts in all that are torqued into place in 2 stages so that we have a hard mate between Cygnus and the Unity module to which it will reside for the next 6 months. A view of the flight control room here at Mission Control in Houston as the shift handover is just beginning, as we are Just a few minutes away from the final bolting into place of Cygnus to the Unity module, following a flawless rendezvous this morning and a robotic capture of Cygnus that occurred 2 hours and 41 minutes ago. And the robotics officer is about to place the arm into what is called limp mode, essentially disabling it from any further motion to provide a quiescent state for the start of the bolt loading. With the arm now in limp mode, first stage capture is complete, standing by for confirmation of second stage capture. We're in a brief handover between satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system. We are in the process of standing by for confirmation of second stage capture and the bolting of Cygnus into place. Still awaiting confirmation of second stage capture. We should be getting that momentarily.
Houston Station for Node 1 diffuser covers.
We're with you on 2.
All right, the diffuser covers are removed and we are ready for IMD activation. And just as a cool thing, sounds like we're hearing some common berthing mechanism IMCA motors turning. So good luck.
Roger, we copy the covers, and yes, I think we're making good progress with the mate.
Good, Cygnus. I think progress was a week ago. Ha ha ha.
Aboard the station, NASA astronaut Mike Fink relaying that he can hear the bolting of Cygnus into place. We're standing by for confirmation of second stage capture. That essentially will be the hard mate of Cygnus to the Unity module. This is Mission Control Houston. The mechanical systems officer here in Mission Control reports that Cygnus has been mechanically attached. We do have a hard mate now with second stage capture. That coming at 9:10 a.m. Central Time, 10:10 a.m. Eastern Time, as the International Space Station and Cygnus flew just off the coast of Chile. So with that, Cygnus's arrival at the station is now complete. There are 3 cargo ships now at the station, the SS Willie McCool, the Roscosmos Progress 93, and the SpaceX Dragon cargo craft. All of that food, fuel, and supplies having been delivered to the International Space Station. This will kick off several hours of leak checks at the Cygnus Unity docking or berthing interface before the crew presses into hatch opening and the beginning of the unloading of cargo later today. Once again, Cygnus now hard-mated, firmly attached to the station at 9:10 a.m. Central Time, 10:10 a.m. Eastern Time, not quite 3 hours after its robotic capture, following a flawless approach, rendezvous, and terminal phase of its approach to the station. Everything went by the book throughout the course of the morning. With that, we will wrap up our coverage of Cygnus's arrival at the International Space Station. Cygnus, now firmly attached to the station, will receive station power shortly, and its hatch will be opened later today. So with that, we wish you a good day on this Thursday. We'll be signing off for now. This is Mission Control Houston.